So, remote teaching 101. Let's start this again. It would probably be best if you use a microphone and a headset. Um, Live and learn, right? So, let's go backwards. As we begin this journey, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all of the faculty and staff of the Page Unified School District. You guys, we're heading for a great year. And my hope and my job here is to make sure that we are as safe as possible. When you get a chance, please reach out to Art and the cafeteria staff for a great lunch today. Also, thank Cody and the custodial staff. They've been cleaning over the course of this summer and will continue to work hard to keep our facilities as clean as possible. Also, Shannon Garrison, the SATs, for some tremendous training that's coming your way and has already started. And then also for our principals, putting together large portions of this, the amount of flexibility that this is taking, and your own grace for yourself and grace for your colleagues. So in the context of that, let's get started again. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to look at the beginning parts of this again. So what we're going to go through is COVID-19 expectations, protocols for staff and students. I had asked earlier if you would just take a second, and what do you notice on this screen? You're looking at something that we are going to release at a later time. As the students do start to return to our campus, we will have another training about some processes, protocols, best practices. But in this instance, we're really going to focus on us. What do we need to do day in and day out to make sure our environment is as safe as possible? So where's the Page Unified School District getting its guidance from? In this case, we pull from a multitude of pieces of information out there. It comes to us on a daily basis. In some cases, it changes as we learn more about COVID-19. So I'm going to share this entire presentation with you, also all of these links with you, so that you can yourself keep up on some of this if you so choose. But this is where this is built from. So let's take a look at the first one. We have the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. This is a national organization, and it provides really high level guidance and suggestions and some best practices to our state. You're more than welcome to go to this site. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but this is one site that there is some significant information. We know that the governor speaks about once a week. He gives us updates on how our state is doing. And from that, he produces some executive orders that have really impacted the school district and all the schools in Arizona. So we take guidance from the governor's office as well. We go ahead and look to the Coconino County Coconino County Health and Human Services. In this context, they give us updates weekly, and these weekly updates are very localized. So from that, we could take a look and see exactly where our local things are happening. So what does it look like in Page? What does it look like in Coconino County overall? This is going to be an important piece as we start to look to reopen schools and the metrics are released. The data dashboard, this is something also from the Coconino County. You can see right here, this has been updated just this week with the most recent information about how the testing is going, where the individuals we see, percentages, things that are happening locally with us here in Coconino County. We take guidance here. The Arizona Department of Education, we know right away they oversee the Page Unified School District. along with our governing board, but they also give us quite a bit of information on a continual basis. Our trust, this is our insurance. They provide us coverage for what we're doing, so you could see quite a bit of information here. Um, and the reason I'm kind of moving through this a little faster is you'll have access to this. I'm going to send this out. And if you want to really dig deep into it, then by all means, please do that. And then we have local partners as well. So local Banner Health and Banner, we've come together with the medical community. Mr. Candelaria and Mr. Wallen have helped put that together. And that group meets on a bi-weekly and weekly basis to kind of talk through current trends that they are seeing. So what do we know about COVID-19? What do we know about our rights as employees? What do we know about the impact of what we're currently doing? And how can we move forward as safely as possible? So with that first, the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. This is the emergency sick leave that was approved by the federal government. It does have an expiration date, and it is paid sick leave if there is some conditions related around COVID-19. So as PUSD, if you are an individual that has been exposed, you are sick from COVID, the first 80 hours, the first 2 weeks, doesn't come out of your sick leave bank. It comes out of this emergency leave bank. But there are some processes that we have. We'll get into that a little bit later in order to qualify for this leave. Also, we know we have current ADE and Arizona guidance for workmen's compensation. This statute covers us along with the trust because we are workers under the PUSD umbrella. This would be our fallback along with those 80 hours. So let's talk a little bit about our current mitigation practices that PUSD has and what that looks like for us day in and day out. So every morning you're coming to work, you're going to go through a checklist. So let's take a look at what this checklist looks like. So each morning you come to work. Let me make this a little bigger here. You're going to self-check. You're going to say to yourself every morning, do I have a fever? You take your temperature of 100.4 or higher. Do I have chills? Do I have a shortness of breath, muscle aches, sore throat or headache? Am I fatigued, congested with a runny nose, cough, vomiting, diarrhea, or a new loss of taste and smell? If you're exhibiting multiple symptoms, please don't come to work. Do not come to work. Call your supervisor, and your supervisor will notify us, and we'll get into this a little bit later, and we'll run through the protocol with you, but do not come to work. Also, if you're out there running, right, you're exercising in the morning, you normally run or you're normally active, and all of a sudden you're not feeling so well, heat exhaustion, let's be cautious. Let's really take a look at what that's like. Call your supervisor, have us call you, and we can walk through it with you again. Okay, so these are a list of symptoms. This does not mean that you have COVID or COVID-19. It just is the most likely symptoms around it, and that comes from our guidance. When we get to work, we did the self-check first. We get to work. When we get to work, we wash our hands for 20 seconds, or we take a couple of pumps of hand sanitizer every day. Also, we leave work to go to the fast food place. We go home. We are constantly going to be washing our hands. What is another mitigation practice? And you've already seen this one. We're trying to keep our sizes to 10 or less, right? In groups, 10 or less. And if we do have to get to that level of 10 or so, then we're looking at maintaining social distance. What is social distance? 6 feet or more. 6 feet, which we know is about, for a 6-foot person, arm length away, keeping the social distance. Masks are mandatory. Masks are mandatory in Page, mask and mandatory and PUSD. So you will start seeing and should have seen quite a bit of signage around that speaks to the mask. So every morning we wake up, we do a self-check. We get to work, we wash our hands or use hand sanitizer. We keep our amount of people around us to groups 10 or less. We maintain 6 feet as best we can, and we wear masks. They are mandatory. Why are we doing this? Why? It's our civic duty. We are a community of learners with PUSD, a community in Page, and it is our responsibility to keep ourselves safe and others safe. So how are we going to really operationalize this as we continue to move forward? So we will attest every day that we've done this, right? Each morning before we come to work, we're going to say, do I have a fever of 104 or more? Do I have a shortness of breath, muscle aches, sore throat, headache, fatigue, right? And so on. This is going to look different for our employee groups. For the hourly employees, the employees who clock in and clock out, as you begin to clock in, you will see a new screen that comes up. And that new screen will say, I attest that I had a self-check this morning, and answer yes. Next, for the employees who log into a computer, you will see that you will now need to click yes, that you attest that you've done this as well, this self-check. For some of us, we will clock in and log into a computer, and we will answer the question twice. What about the 6 foot? Let's talk about that for a second. When I come to work every day, as you, I know I'm walking into a building, my mask is on. Why? Because I don't know what's around the corner. I don't know who's around, and I don't know if I'm going to be interacting with individuals when I get here. My mask is on. As I come into my workspace, it's just me in my workspace, and my mask can come off. As I leave my office, though, my mask goes back on, knowing that I could become in contact with others, and I will want to have my mask on. What about the mask? How should we wear it? We're going to look at another slide that will show that, but we want to make sure we're using our mask properly, and we want to make sure it's made of the appropriate material. So we see masks that are made, and you can buy them on Amazon or through a fashion retailer. If the material is substantial enough, right, it's got some thickness and weight to it, or it's a commercially produced mask, then by all means, those are appropriate. A bandana is not going to be an appropriate material, nor is it an appropriate mask. A cut t-shirt that you wrapped up at night and throw it around your face is not going to be appropriate. We are professional individuals, so let's take this to that level as well. 6 feet, I pulled this right from the CDC guidelines. It's about 2 arm lengths away. It is a good amount of distance between 2 individuals. We want to maintain this as much as possible. There are going to be times that we can't maintain this. We know this. We would need to have the mask on at that time. What would be an appropriate way to wear the mask? So I like to call this slide, and this is a little bit of humor. I call these 2 with the red X's. This is the Walmart version of wearing your mask. If you walk around Walmart and you have your mask on appropriately, you will see individuals who do not have them on appropriately. So we want to make sure our nose is covered. We want to make sure our mouth is covered. And this is the majority of the time that we're working. If we're working alone, we don't have to have the mask on. But if we are working with others and the potential to come within 6 feet is there, then by all means, we want to have our mask. Here's where we're going to need help. I'm going to need help, and you possibly could need help. And I like to call this remember, remind, and report. So in our minds, this is new. This is very new for a lot of us, wearing a mask. I, for one, sometimes will walk out of my office and forget to grab my mask. That happens. It's my job to remember that, and I will try my hardest to remember it every day. And as I become better I will then go ahead and have it at a regular basis, and I'm getting better. Uh, but I do have colleagues out there who will remind me. They will say, "Terry, you don't have a mask on." Oh, yep, absolutely. That's only if you're comfortable. If you're comfortable reminding a colleague that they need to have their mask on, then by all means do. If you're not comfortable, we're not asking you to be the mask police. We're not asking you to go out and walk around and tell individuals they need to put masks on. You remember to put your mask on and keep your social distance. And if it's not working for others, report it. Where can you report this to? 100% anonymous. You can report it to your supervisor. I don't want to report it to my supervisor. Use hr@pageud.org and send us an email. We will address it. Or call internal 401 or 4101, sorry, or 4108, and we will also address it. This goes for lots of things that we're as we move forward, right? So the idea that maybe there's an individual without a shield that needs a shield, and we've tried to get that done as best we can. It's not happening. Let us know. Um, the idea that your desk or classroom is not being cleaned at a certain level. Let's remember, remind, and report. Right? Not the idea that we're trying to get anyone in trouble. No, this is us getting better moving forward. So, like I said, I will share this with you, and from that sharing, please jot those down. And if you need some help or we need some help, please let us know. Now let's go into the last little bit here, the frequently asked questions and the kind of what ifs. We have produced tons of FAQs. Those are going to start being populated up on our website. They'll be populated internally for everyone. But these are some of the common ones that I hear quite often. And I want to talk a little bit about those first. When do we have to wear a mask? Almost always. Almost always. If you are in your room by yourself, working alone, then you don't have to wear a mask. But if there's the potential of coming within 6 feet of someone, then you would want to have a mask on. We would ask that you have a mask on. So almost always is the answer there. I have colleagues who are not taking this seriously. Remember, remind, and report. Right? Your job is not to convince them. Your job is not to make sure they're doing what they need to do. That's their civic duty, and then that's us to make sure this happens. Your children are sick, or you have children, and we'll get to ourselves here in a second. But my child is sick, and it's non-COVID, right? Then you would do like you normally did. You would take leave if you need to take leave to take care of your children or child, or you would come to work like you normally would, depending on your comfort level with your children and how sick they are. But that would remain the same. That's a practice that hasn't changed. Let's say though it is COVID related, or it's suspected to be COVID related, you would contact your supervisor. Do not come to work. You would contact your supervisor, and then we will be contacting you to go through the next steps. And I'll share that here in a couple of minutes, or over the course of some emails. You've already seen some emails about the steps, so we'll share it again. Next piece, can I use a shield or a face mask? Yeah, a shield or a face mask, right? Can I use a shield instead? Yes, you can use a shield instead. We know that our kindergarten through second grade, Lakeview, is going to be using shields, or that's the conversation right now. So that is an option. The mask is definitely a better option than the shield. Social distance, we know, is the best option. So in the context of the kind of steps, social distance, mask, shield. But yes, we will be issuing shields to individuals. I lost my mask middle of the day, and I raised my hand because I've already done this. What do? I lost my mask and I only have one. Get with your admin assistant as quickly as you can. We have extra masks. Keep an extra one in your desk. So it will be much like, it's new for us, right? So we saw a cowboy's mask get lost. I hope that person found it. I really do. we saw a Cowboys mask get lost, but have an extra one around. That will help. But then your admin assistant will have extras that we will be supplying there as well. So I'm at work. I did my temperature check. I did my attestation at the beginning of the day. And now I'm at work. It's after lunchish. I'm making phone calls, getting a hold of students, or I'm running packets. I'm doing things that I would normally be doing, and I don't feel well. I have an upset stomach. I'm getting a headache. I just don't feel well. First step, put on your mask. Put on your mask, head out of the campus, contact your supervisor, contact human resources, and we will take it from there. But do not continue to stay at work if you do not feel well. Mask up and head home. Right? So, in closing here, and as we kind of wrap this up, I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to share all the links. I'm going to share the steps. But I think you can hear over and over here that the idea is if you feel sick at home, don't come to work. If you're feeling sick at work, mask up and head home. We have 80 hours of emergency sick leave that we will work through with you, and human resources will be the one who facilitates the moving parts of what may happen. So with that, I want to thank you for your time. I will send all of this out. You guys have a great rest of your day. Welcome back. And take care. Bye.